In this class, we are going to look upon the structure diagrams. So the first diagram in the structural diagram is the class diagram, and this class diagram is used to represent the member data and member functions of a given system. So while we are going for creating different number of objects for the classes, each and every object is going to possess the most common properties what has been defined in the member data and member functions. And a typical class diagram will look something similar to this. This is the way how does a class diagram is created. It has got many number of classes which have been connected with each other by means of relationships. So they are going to establish a kind of relationship wherein the information or objects can move from one class to another. So as I told you, the class diagram is going to possess the member data and member functions which are shown in two different compartments. Other than these compartments, a class diagram have two more compartments, one to represent what are the relationship of the classes, as well as another one to represent what are all the description about the class. And the second diagram, what we can see is nothing but the object diagram, which is used to represent the objects that are pertaining to each and every classes, or it belongs to each and every class. A typical object diagram looks something similar to this, wherein we can have object followed by the class name. And in the part of the object, we can go for representing any kind of name or any kind of variables. If at all we want to go for defining or declaring, we can go for doing it. That is nothing but an object diagram. And the third part of the diagram is nothing but the component diagram, which is a structural diagram. And this component diagram is going to show all the software related components, that is the application related components of a given system that is under development. And this symbol is used for representing a component, and all the components which are interconnected with each other forms a component diagram. And this has got a kind of a normal connection amongst each other, and if at all you want, we can go for giving dependency request also from one component to another component. But this component diagram just an illustration of what are all the software components that are related to the application that is going to get developed in the future. And the fourth form of the diagram is nothing but the deployment diagram, which is going to tell about the deployment environment of a given system. That is the hardwares and the softwares that are required for deploying a particular application after the completion. So here, as you can look out into the web server, database server, and user PC, all of these are the hardware components, and index.php, SQL database, HTML5 player, these are all the software components which are needed for deploying a particular software. So this diagram is useful for the developers in order to understand to what environment they need to go for developing the software which is going to get deployed in the future. And the second categories of diagram is nothing but the behavioral diagram. So behavioral diagram, when you look out into, we got state machine diagram, activity diagram, use case diagram, sequence diagram, communication diagram, timing diagram, and interaction overview diagram. Out of this, state machine, activity, use case, sequence, communication are the most important diagrams. So state machine diagram is going to give the state of the object after performing a particular activity. So a object will definitely undergo a state change as a result of its process. So state machine diagram is going to capture that, and a typical state machine diagram looks something similar to this. We got to represent all the states what an object will enter into as it is going for doing some actions or performing some functionalities according to the context what is given to the object. And we got the activity diagram, which is a fully functional diagram that is going to replicate that a kind of similar kind of a flow chart wherein the activities of the object are being captured over here. So each and every object is going to have a workflow during its existence, and the workflow is captured in the form of activity, are represented in the form of activity. So here we got three different categories, three different swim lanes kind of structure, wherein student, system, and program coordinator. And what are all the activities that are relevant to the student will come under the student swim lane, and what are the activities related to the system will come under the system as well as the program coordinator. So when we go into this diagram, we will get to know like what are all the activities that the system is going to perform during its existence in terms of its workflow. And the next diagram is a use case diagram, which involves the process of representing the use cases and the actors who are involved in the particular given system. So we got this include and extend as its stereotypes over here, and the ones which are given in the stick figures are called as the actors, and ones which are given in the oval symbols are all nothing but the use cases. Thank you.